Today we're going to be working on crate training with Fred. Fred is adoptable from Helping Paws Rescue. He is a 2-month-old Australian Shepherd Heeler puppy, and he is a very smart dog. Now today, again, we're working on the crate training, so I'm going to give you some of my best techniques for training your dog to be okay with the crate. So for this training exercise, you're going to need a bed for your dog, a crate, and some very high value treats. I'm going to be using some beef liver treats that are cut into very, very small pieces. So as you can see here, I have some beef liver treats that Fred really likes. So I have my treats here in this little ceramic container, and I have the bed out. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating value for this bed. Now what that means is I want to make sure that Fred likes this bed prior to him going in the crate. The reason why I do this is because we don't even need to introduce the crate yet, and we can create a very positive response for this bed so that when we put the bed in the crate, Fred already has a positive thing sitting in there. This also removes some of the stress from the dog because there's something that's comfortable in there. So I'm just going to plop the bed down on the ground and just put the treats in the bed for him. There you go. You can also do this exercise very casually, so whenever he chooses to go in the bed, you can just drop a treat in the bed. I also love to not use treats for this exercise, so whenever he goes in the bed, he loves attention, so I just pet him. I also play with his toys when he's in the bed as well, so that's an option that you can use if you don't want to use food. Now for the first few days that I had Fred, this is what I did in the bed. I just started building value for this bed. So I did this exercise for like maybe 3 or 4 treats, so 2 minutes a day. And then the rest of the time that he was in the bed, I just used attention and play just to reinforce that this bed is totally awesome. Okay, so let's say you've done this exercise. The next step is to take this bed and actually put it inside of the crate. Now, if you haven't built the crate yet, I would recommend building the crate in a different room so that you don't freak your puppy out or your dog if you have an adult dog that you're crate training. Now, the reason I say that is because these crates are very clunky and they're very loud. So when you're trying to put them together, they make a lot of noise, and a lot of the time this scares the puppies. Overall, my recommendation is to put this together in a different room so you can kind of muffle the noise so the dog is not super freaked out of it right off the bat. Because if you create a negative association with this crate immediately, then your dog is going to be super scared, and then you're going to have to undo that negative emotion that you just created. After you've put this together, then take this out and you can just set it somewhere in your house. Every time your dog decides to go in there voluntarily, you can give them a treat. Make sure that you're not forcing them to go in there. So don't pick them up and put them in there and just shut them in there on the first day or in the first hour. You don't really want to do any of these things because this will cause panic in your dog. If your dog is smelling or investigating the outside of the crate, please reinforce that. That is really, really good. We want our dog to learn that by interacting with the crate, that positive things happen. The next step after that is to take some of the treats and you're going to just sprinkle them into here. We want to encourage our puppy or our dog to go inside of the crate. During this stage, do not shut the crate door, and if they want to come out or don't want to go in, don't force them to. Good boy, Fred. Good boy. That's really important that you don't let the dog have the treats when they're outside of the crate. You want to make sure that they only get the treats for being inside. Good boy. And again, as you can see, this door is open. I'm not even touching it. I'm literally just letting him go in there and come out as he pleases. I'm also making sure that he gets the treats or whatever he loves. So if your dog doesn't like treats, you can use toys. He only gets those good things when he's inside here. Good. Now for day one, make sure that you don't push it. Don't shut them in the crate, so don't close this door. You just want to make sure that your dog is having the most positive experience ever. A lot of people think just because, oh look, like Fred looks pretty chill right now, that they can just shut them in there and leave. If you do that, you will get your dog all riled up and they might be super nervous to go in the crate the next time. It's because when they get trapped in there, that's what they're feeling. They're feeling trapped and scared, and they don't understand why they can't come out and be with you. So what we end up doing is creating a bad association with the crate. You don't want that, because then your dog will resent going in the crate in the future, and sometimes that's how we get separation anxiety problems as well. So if you feel tempted to rush the training process, please remember it will only do more harm than good. You want to make sure that you do this process very slowly and at the dog's pace, not at yours. Oh, there we go. We found it. You found it. Now, as you can see, for the purpose of this video, I'm sitting very close to this crate. Some dogs feel that if you're sitting in front of it, that you're actually preventing them from coming out. So if you notice that your dog is just standing in there whining, it might be because you're sitting too close to the crate and they're assuming that you're going to prevent them from walking out. So if your dog is doing this, just move a little bit further from the crate so that your dog doesn't feel like you're pressuring them to stay in. Okay, Fred, gonna come out? You gonna come out, buddy? As you can see, Fred doesn't want to come out of the crate, and that's actually a really good sign that he's enjoying it. You need to make sure that you're looking at your dog for any signs of fear, to make sure that we're not putting them over threshold. We don't want them to be scared of the crate, and if they are, then maybe starting inside of the crate is not a very good idea. If you're having problems with this, they normally come with a separator inside that's metal, and it looks like this. Looks like this. So all you can do is literally start with this. So you can just stick this on the floor for your dog and sprinkle the treats in here so that they're interacting with the metal piece, because it's very similar to the material that's used on here. And so if your dog is too scared to go anywhere near this big crate, then you can break it down into baby steps and use this instead, and then gradually start introducing the crate again. So now after you're done this training session, you want to take this bed that we were building value for and actually stick it in the crate and leave it in there. So I'll just stick it here right at the beginning. We just want to make sure that this is super comfortable for Fred so that he wants to go in it when we're not doing the training. Now, of course, we built value for this bed first, so of course Fred thinks that this bed is awesome. He also loves to chew it because he's a puppy. So we have to do a lot of redirection with toys. The next part of the training would be to actually start closing this door. Now you want to make sure that you're not fully closing the dog in. You just want to start by moving it and reinforcing. This is because we don't want to make our dog panic that they're trapped inside of the crate. Another thing that I want to bring up is that the crate is not just a physical object, it can also make noise. So sometimes the dogs are actually freaked out of the noise of actually stepping into the crate, onto the plastic, or even just the sound of these metal rungs. Now it might be a very important step when your dog is not inside the crate to teach them that these noises are okay. So what you can start doing is you can tap on the crate and then give a treat. Now Fred here has had some previous training with this crate, and so he's ready for it. But if your dog has never heard this noise, make sure that they're on the outside of the crate, not on the inside of the crate when you tap on it for the first time. You want to gradually increase the sound that you're making by tapping a little bit harder, but you don't want to smash this super hard so that you're freaking out your dog. That is not the goal. The entire goal is just to recreate the noise so that if your dog is moving in the crate and accidentally hits the side and it makes that noise, that it doesn't freak them out. Now, if your dog is freaking out when you do this, tap a little bit later. So if this amount of pressure freaks them out, just do like this. So I'm barely touching this and I'm still getting a little bit of the rattle. It just makes it easier for the dog. The other thing that you can do is start with the dog on the outside, kind of tap the side or the top wherever it makes some of the noise, and then reinforce them so that they're not actually inside. Next, we're going to start moving the door. So we don't want to shut the dog in, we're just going to crank it a little bit like this. Hey, good boy. Great. We just want to make sure that he knows that this door can move, but that he's never being shut in. Now some dogs might get freaked out by the sound of this latch because it does smash against the bars here. So if you find when you're doing this with the door and your dog is getting scared, what you can do is you can just temporarily tape or tie this right to the metal bars here. So then that way when you're moving it doesn't make any noise. Now again, if your dog is super scared of this door, you can do the exercise when they're outside of the crate as well, just to get them used to the door moving. So you can be like, yay, look, big scary door. That was okay. We gradually want to start shutting this door more and more, but we don't want to lock our dog in here yet because they are not ready for this step. Yay. So this is my first time actually even touching the door with Fred. So I'm really looking out for signs of fear or discomfort, and if I see any of those, it means I'm moving the door too much, so I should just move the door a little bit less. So if I've seen a fear sign for moving it this much, then I need to only move it like here, not here. Good. It's right here. So as you can see, I'm shutting the door, but I'm not locking it. Now, another technique that you can use is if your dog's getting scared because they're fixating too much on the fact that this door is moving, you can put the treats in there first so that the dog is eating the treats while you're moving the door. So I'll show you how to do that. So you just put the treats in here like this, then shut the door like this and open it. So as you can see, I'm doing it really fast to make sure that I've reopened this door before he finishes eating those treats. Now at any point, if your dog wants to walk out of the crate, you need to let them do that. Don't be like, no buddy, go back in there. Obviously if your dog wants out, then you need to respect their boundaries and say, you know what, it's okay. You don't have to be in there right now. You should go in there when you're feeling comfortable, not when you feel forced to. We always want to make sure that our dogs have the choices to do what they want. Now, a lot of people get really confused and think that that means that there's no boundaries, and that's not how positive reinforcement works. We just, when we're training them on something that they've never seen before, we'd like to make sure that they have those choices to come out of a situation that they feel uncomfortable with, but that we encourage them to go back into that situation. As you can see, Fred is super comfortable. He's already fallen asleep. Nighty night, Fred.